I would just like to say from the bottom of my heart, my liver, my spleen, whatever, fuck Columbus. Happy Indigenous Day from Beef, Wine, and Shenanigans, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, that's how I feel about that. We've been hoodwinked and bamboozled as children into thinking this clown was actually a decent human being. Murderer, rapist, and just all around horrible cat. And he has a holiday. He has a holiday and a statue I have to walk by in order to go to work every day. It's like 50, it's interesting that 59th Street has become this like circle of hell. There's probably a legit doorway to hell between Trump Tower and Columbus, right? It within the same circumference. You think about that. It's like, what the entire fuck? And that's all. And I don't want to dwell on it because Kirk did mention we were going to try to have a positive day. So we're gonna dispel all that heinousness and get to work. I'm Stephen Van Patten. I am joined by the lovely Denise Tapscott, the almost as lovely Mark Abbott, and of course, fresh from his longshoreman job, Kirk Johnson.
You know what? I got a question. I have a question for Italian American viewers that we have and listeners out there. Hey guys, how come you don't set up a petition? You don't need Columbus to represent Italian American heritage and stuff. Why don't you go with the most relevant historian or writer of Italian literature? Dante's Inferno. It not only speaks clearly about Catholic belief systems, it's also written by an Italian man in the 14th century.
Yeah.
Have picture Dante's Inferno is one of the most influential pieces of literature, of art. Shit, Michelangelo's there. You know what I mean? You have all. Why the fuck are we gonna do? Or why the fuck will you let Christopher Columbus? Think about it, guy. I'm just saying. This is just black man talking to my Italian brethren who don't mind me being considered an Italian brethren of yours, even though I'm not Italian. But I'm just saying, Dante, the writer for Dante's Inferno, Dante Alighieri. Hey, you guys are Italian. You know how to pronounce the last name better than I do. I'm just saying, Dante, and his mad black folks named Dante too.
Right.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
That's a great point.
Why do you think that is, though?
Personally, I think it has a lot to do with just probably some English white supremacist motherfucker wanted to create a legend of America, an idea and a legend of America, because you're thinking about it as Italian Americans, the big part being American, not being Italian. But Dante and Dante's Inferno can bring together just the concept of what Italians really think about, their ideas and motivations, which are really based on the Catholic faith and the idea of redemption and the hell and how to be a good person and what is it being a good person, how not to go to hell, shit like that. Come on, man. I mean, Michelangelo, y'all could just bring in Michelangelo. Influenced so many American architects and theologians and painters. Jesus Christ, man.
Well, he's got a holiday. He
has one or two.
Who does?
Jesus Christ.
Oh, that nigga? I don't even know he was real. Shit, Jesus got a holiday. Why don't Hercules have a holiday if we're gonna go that far?
He probably does. Well,
It's somewhere in this world, Hercules got a holiday.
In the alternate universe, in
Loki's alternate universe, 6 people celebrate Herculean.
I guarantee you, Loki probably been to that. Nice, right. When Hercules defeated Cain the Conqueror. Hercules saved Earth against Cain the Conqueror. He has a holiday. That's the story I want to see.
I just still find it interesting how we were. I don't even know if the word bamboozle even works anymore. Like, how are we all duped into believing that this man, who was sent, basically the way I see this, they needed to get rid of all these cats in jail. Mm-hmm. So they gave him to Columbus with the idea that he'd fall off the face of the earth. It wasn't because they thought he was going to find. I'm not sure what his story was. Because here's the thing, though.
He was trying to make an easier way to get to the Indies, I guess.
Wait. Here's the funny part about that.
Mm-hmm.
Who sent him?
Spain.
Yeah.
Yep.
It wasn't the Pope. It wasn't like anyone from Italy was like, hey, you should go on this trip. They emptied out the prison, sent him on his way, and he just happened to find these islands wherever he was.
Cuba and Haiti and
Dominican. And no, because I had mentioned earlier about the thing about the Arawak Indians natives in St. Croix. How in 1493 he rolled up on them and they saw him coming. It was like, oh no. and gave him the business. You know, it's like, those islands knew who he was. But for years, and I remember when they did the 1492 film, and at the time Marlon Brando, they wanted Marlon Brando to be in the film, and he said, the only way I'll be in that movie is if you portray him the way he really was. A murderer, a thief, and a rapist.
Wow.
And they were like, we can find somebody else to play.
Casting.
Exactly.
Hey, Gerald, Mr. Depardieu. What are you doing lately? What you been doing lately, Depardieu?
Get the Frenchie to do it.
Right. He hasn't read any historical books. Let him play the part.
It just amazes me that
you got a library card? No. Okay, good.
Okay,
you're hired.
Good. You ain't gonna be looking for nothing. Right. It just amazes me that we grew up believing that. And I only had one teacher in middle school ever tell us about Amerigo Vespucci. The map maker who actually discovered, he didn't really discover, like he turned the map to realize, okay, you were, it's like that line from Indiana Jones. The staff is too long. He's sailing in the wrong place. He wasn't even in the, we're not taught any of that. And it's interesting that over the years now, which is funny because it's history and people get mad, we're not celebrating Columbus Day. We didn't change the history. It's always been there. We just, for whatever reason, much like the Pilgrims. Coming to America and spreading every disease known to man to the Native Americans. But we only
shooting a bunch of them.
But we only talk about Thanksgiving.
Yeah. But I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, something like this doesn't happen by accident. Something like this that's as widespread as it is. It happens because these schools have their marching orders. I have long tried to figure out how, and I went, to Brooklyn Tech, which is supposed to be this highfalutin, whatever. And shut up, Denise. And then but I walked away from there being an expert, like literal expert on World War II.
Yeah.
There I am, 17. And I could basically, if there had been a such thing as TED Talks back then, I could have easily ran a TED Talk on World War II. I have forgotten more about World War II than most people know about a lot of shit. Now, why was World War II an important thing to hammer into my head while we literally spent one day or a day and a half or something like that talking about the civil rights movement, and outside of Rosa Parks, who now I'm learning it wasn't even the first person,
Right.
To deny a white person a seat. It's just that she happened to be light skinned. Like there's all kinds of
Yeah.
all kinds of stuff left out. Very little spoken about what Malcolm X actually had to say. Hell, very little spoken about what Muhammad Ali had to say.
Yeah.
When he was protesting the Vietnam War. Very
Martin Luther
little
King about reparations.
And then there's that.
Yeah, because he didn't talk about any of that. The only thing he did was "I Have a Dream" speech and the letters from the Birmingham jail. After that, because I was always told that they had always presented Malcolm X to us as the hard-headed version of Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King, yeah.
Like he was like, Martin provoked peace and Malcolm wanted violence, and I was I ain't following Malcolm. And then you learn about Malcolm, and you're like, okay, all right, I see why you didn't want me to hear about this man.
He was also easy to vilify because he's a Muslim.
Yes, that too.
Like from day one, regardless, like if you're like I want to say average Black American, in the time that we were all born, we all sort of, I can't say all because I also know some Black Catholics and so on, but for the most part, we end up Baptist or Methodist, maybe, right? And in and of itself, that comes with a sort of like delusional kind of like grooming. I can use the word grooming, even though we weren't, even though but it wasn't right. Exactly, it wasn't something that people were throwing around back then when we were all small children.
Right.
But that's what happened. Your mama was Baptist, you gonna be Baptist.
Right.
You know, you're gonna go through the whole thing of getting dunked in the water at some point.
Right. Yeah.
And all that business. And within that, you don't even know why you're supposed to be differentiating yourself from, like, that's not explained. It's like, well, mom, isn't church a church? There's a Catholic church right there. Why don't we just go there? Stuff like that is not addressed. You're not even given the platform to address it as a child. And then you wake up and then here you are. You've adopted this thing into your life. And then it isn't until later in your adulthood that you begin to see the hypocrisy in all of them.
Yeah.
Muslim, Catholic, all of them carry a certain amount of hypocrisy. And if not hypocrisy, then at least something that doesn't make sense. Like basically our ancestors had these religions beaten into them.
Yeah.
And yet now that we're openly complying, whether it's Joel Osteen or some other con man or woman. Exactly. Yeah, I mean,
Crystal Cathedral.
And I always, my whole thing with that, create a flow of dollars. Like he's literally telling you what he's up to. And these folks still follow that clown.
Yeah.
What's a plane and all this other shit. But then the bigger problem is so we've adapted to this. We're told whatever we were doing, whatever our ancestors were doing in Africa had no value, had no meaning. We're praying to trees. Even other Black folks believe that nonsense.
Yeah.
That, whatever our ancestors were doing before they got captured, it had no value. It had no this, it had no that. Okay, fine. But at least until they were captured, at least they had a sense of self.
Mhm.
And wherever they were worshiping, they didn't have to worry about Dylan Roof coming to shoot them while they were sitting there minding their business.
Preach.
You get the religion beat into you and you still can't practice it safely. What the hell is that? Then you have to kind of, I'm sorry, but then you have to kind of look up and be like, okay, the math's not mathing. What's going on? Anyway.
God math.
Yeah.
It's God math.
It's that new math. It's that new math.
The new math.
That common core math.
Right.
But you know what? I will say this. I give my father a lot of credit because I was not, my mother was Baptist, my father was Episcopalian. And we got to a point in my life where he was just like, look, here's some books. Read up on this. You know, I know you're part of the, but understand, my father was an avid reader. He had books. Like, there's this one book I always remember on the shelf called Pagans and Christians, where, you know, it talks about, you know, all of what happened in Rome. You know, Peter and Paul going into Rome, the history, and he was always about, you know, understand the history of the church, understand, you know, how it works. And I was always thankful about the Episcopalian faith because it was always like that. Like I would go to church and learn things, like not like a few months ago. For example, we had a new priest come in, but before him, we had a priest who was a real theologian. He just, he started talking, you're like, man, I need to know more of this. And his whole sermon was on, he goes, does anybody ever notice that Joseph disappears in the Bible? There's like, Jesus is born, you know, he's a little kid, and then nobody ever heard, what happened to Joseph? He's like, they don't talk about his death. He just kind of was written out, or he's not there. And he went into this whole thing about Christ being born, and he says, now we're under the impression that Jesus was a carpenter. He said, but if you know anything about the region, there are no trees there. And I'm sitting there like, wait, he's right. He goes, yeah. He goes, he wasn't building things out of wood because there were no trees. He goes, so what kind of carpenter was he? You know, he's like the manger. He's like, it wasn't a barn. It was a cave, because that's where, you know, and it's those kinds of things that I appreciate. Because then you begin to go, okay, so there's a lot more to this whole, because I always wondered this. I was like, so Jesus was born, he did his thing, and then what happened to his teenage years?
Right.
Like you had 12 cats that you hung out with.
Right.
No one asked you, so what were you like as a kid? You know, it's like, you know,
who your dad? Who your daddy? Who your daddy, Jesus?
Where Joseph?
Next,
who your people? Right.
Next on Fast Times in Jerusalem.
Right.
And I mean, even if you think about the thing about the people that traveled with him, because I was like, my brother and I always had this comedic look about, if you look at the Last Supper and you die, if you peel back the layers, and Jesus says to Peter, before the cock crows, you're going to deny me 3 times. And Peter's like, no, I'm not. And I'm like, wait a minute. What kind of friend are you? If your main dude is like, you're going to betray me. And it's like, he's like, nah, I'm not going to do it. And then he does it. Right in front of Jesus. And you kind of think about, like, how many times have you been in that situation? We ain't taking what's his name with us. Why? You know he ain't gonna pay his way. when the bill comes. It's like, I think I sent Steven that clip of the Last Supper, and it said, why does this look like they're arguing over who's gonna pay the bill?
Oh,
Yeah, I seen that one.
oh, that's funny.
And what's his name's like, I didn't even order the bread. I'm not paying for that.
Right. I only had one glass of wine.
I don't want that.
I had one glass of wine. I didn't have anything else.
Now y'all know I don't even drink.
Right. I had fish and it was bony. I'm waiting for information to come out that Jesus found all that shit out about Peter because Mary Magdalene like said some shit to him while they were in bed together. Like, you can't trust that nigga. You can't trust that nigga, Jesus. So come on, man. Peter's been with me forever.
You can't trust him.
Jesus,
No,
you can't trust him.
You know what?
You know what? I was behind the Coliseum and that motherfucker was trying to holler.
Yes.
At me, you know?
Right.
Stop.
You know Aisha and Gladys? I was with them behind the pillar, and we saw Peter coming out. We was going to say something. We saw him talking to some people that were trying to shady. You should be careful, Jesus.
I'm just saying. Right.
Listen to the black woman. Listen to the black woman. Jesus was like, oh man. Come to find out that Joseph was a revolutionary. He got killed earlier.
Mark was sitting over there like, yo, Peter, she don't like you, man. It's like, she don't like you. Why are you always going over there messing with that girl? Right. Paul, tell him about himself. I'm tired of having this conversation with him every time something go down.
Right. Mark, please remember, my name is not Paul. My name is Polonius. It's not Paul. Stop shorting my name.
Whatever,
Peter.
Paul.
Well, wait, which Peter? Simon Peter.
Paul.
Other Peter over
Simon
there.
Peter.
Mama named him Paul. I'm gonna call him Paul.
And right.
Matthew, the sister, rolls his eyes.
All that shit is buried in a vault in the Vatican. They tried to do a movie about it and they just turned it into a mystery novel instead.
You know what it is?
Mystery novel.
You know what it is? I bet you they were friends and Mary mother was like, Jesus, come here. Now I know you like hanging out with them boys, but I don't like that Peter. I'm gonna tell you one of these days, he gonna turn on, he gonna deny you one of these days. Oh, come on, Mom, Peter cool. No, baby.
Mark my words.
I know. I know. Now that Luke and that Matthew, them good boys. But that boy,
them good boys.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
No. Remember that neighborhood where the Galatians used to all hang out? Remember that neighborhood?
Not
you know why it got gentrified? Because of Peter.
Because of Peter.
Because of Peter. That whole neighborhood gone. You got to watch out for him. He's not right in the head. For him.
Keep your good eye on him.
Right. His soul is dark.
And meanwhile, the Galatians are out there like, Galatians.
No Galatians, no peace. No Galatians, no peace. No Galatians, no peace. No Galatians, no peace. Man, Key and Peele should have had us up and writers, man.
Yeah.
but I mean,
we let's be real. With this kind of shit, we would have got Key and Peele canceled first season. Dead in the water.
I mean, I just think it's fascinating history, and I think more people should read it for its historical value,
right?
And understanding, like, much of what he said were parables. There were stories to explain. I'm going to tell you this story because that's what I mean. But that's the essence of everything. Everything boils down to a story. You learned stuff when you were a child because grandma sat you down and told you this story, or mom and dad told you this story, and you were supposed to learn from it, whether it's true or not. You probably wouldn't find out for another 15, 20 years and be like, man, that never happened. Who told you that story? And your Uncle Claude told you that, you can't even trust Claude.
Going right back to it. This is why I told the story of Columbus. Because Columbus sailed the ocean blue.
And
in 1492.
1492.
Against the naysayers and the haters, to brave the Atlantic Ocean and find a new source of revenue for this new country that the ancestors were about to destroy and colonize and rape and pillage and take over. So that Gerald Depardieu can play him in a movie and Donald Trump can be put in jail.
you know when
that is the point of Columbus.
The night that morning the ships came back, somebody knocked on the king's door, was like, "You ain't gonna believe this." You remember them 3 ships that you sent to the far end of the world? He back.
He back.
He's like, oh, Columbus.
That dude,
Chris. Columbus. Chris.
That Italian dude.
That Italian nigga.
The funny looking Italian dude with the hat.
The hat,
right.
feather in it. Yeah, that dude.
Topher?
Did he bring me any gifts? What? Like, he just gonna show up empty-handed? What do you got?
Let me finish this. Let me finish this passage from Dante, and I'll go see Christopher in a minute.
If only the king was that sophisticated, or the queen, or whoever.
There was a Queen Elizabeth.
Actually,
Queen Isabella.
Somebody needs to do a skit where he shows back up and he's like, I found a passage to the east, and perhaps the Mongols and everybody standing there in front of the king, like, I don't know him. It's like,
who this?
He's like, he ain't come our way. No, I was there. Oh, you weren't.
No.
Yeah, there's always stories about that too. Like,
we walked
I remember.
Here, so I know you didn't. I know.
You remember that Muslim dude y'all kicked out of the house like just last week? I found some charts. I found some navigational charts that seem to make sense. I think there's something else going on the other side in the west. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Oh my stars.
Happy Indigenous People Day.
Yeah. Happy Indigenous People Day. Everything we've been taught as children was basically a farce. All right. Moving on. Because there is one religion that I think all 4 of us can trust.
Would that be
That would be the Force. That would be the Force.
I was just about to say that.
Words out
of my mouth.
Force.
I ain't gonna trust that shit.
Because if nothing else, it's given us some damn good movies and TV. Couple of mediocre ones here and there, a couple of, questionable things. But for the most part,
Ewok Christmas Story.
Well, it gets a pass. That gets a pass. They're kids. I don't know who told them about Jesus. I mean, I know colonialism is a motherfucker, but the fact that, what televangelist got to Endor? I don't know how that actually happened.
Christmas in Endor.
Christmas in
Endor.
Just like, he's stupid.
So all of that
Christmas
said,
in Endor.
Exactly. It's an Ewok Christmas, Charlie Brown. Look, Ahsoka, which is why we're doing this in the first place, as Disney Plus continues to leapfrog us through a Marvel series, to a Star Wars series, to another, and it just on and on and on, wash, rinse, repeat, and basically take all the nerd money. Just take it all.
They sure did.
It like the school bullies, they got nothing on Disney Plus, man. They taking all your lunch money, son. All of it. And they're gonna keep doing that. It's a business model. It works. And you know, I wouldn't stop if it was me in charge. It's like, okay, you know,
it's like Bad Boy. Can't stop. Won't stop.
Right. Now, Ahsoka is the latest in the lengthy legacy of Star Wars franchise. I enjoyed it. I had my issues. And I'll just throw one issue up in the air right now, like, you know, like I'm throwing up a baseball cap because I'm getting beat up by white supremacists.
Oh no.
And what I'm gonna throw up is this. And spoiler alert, when you have people fighting with what is essentially a sword made out of light,
yes,
and they are defense, offense, does not matter, but they are surrounded by a mass of individuals, and you don't see more than one decapitation. You don't see someone literally cut in half. And these folks are doing like mad, incredible martial arts stuff that I mean, in order to make it look right, Rosario Dawson and everybody else in these fight scenes, they've obviously spent hours mastering sword fight. Hours upon hours. But as Toshiro Mifune has taught me, there needs to be some physical damage on the screen, not this little scarring of the stormtrooper armor and all this other stuff. And obviously it's a symptom of the ownership.
Yeah.
Disney in and of itself can only go but so far, can only bring itself to go but so far, because it's had this standard of all these years where usually the violence is more psychological in Disney movies.
Ooh, yeah.
You know, Bambi's mother biting a poisoned apple from someone who you thought was harmless old lady.
Right.
I guess she looked homeless too, but I mean, that's not really I wasn't really trying to rag on her like that.
He's homeless.
You know what I mean? So the damage is psychological.
Yeah.
You know, they're not really trying to, like, you know, case in point, you know, this whole, like, I always remember when people got like all riled up because Shuri from Wakanda Forever didn't kill a Submariner. And you know, and everybody was like, if that was my mama, I would have da. It's like, check this out though. Ain't nobody killing the Submariner for another 3 or 4 movies. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Do you not know how business works? They finally got a guy that's gonna get people in Mexico watching Marvel movies.
That's right. That's right.
It's like, are you serious? Are you serious? And the only reason the queen got killed is because her agent was probably like, look, if we doing another one of these movies, Angela needs this, and this. And they were like, okay, check this out. We don't do that here. And you know, and poor Angela got to drown.
Oh.
You know, and I get it. I get it from the sense of, you know, normally, culturally speaking, the way Black people handle shit is, you kill my mama, I'm basically chopping you up into little bits and putting you in a stew. But in the Disney world, you come to terms, you stop fighting, and you make friends, because and so here's the underlying message is, you know, that both factions are supposedly worried about colonialism.
Yeah.
And Disney let them get away with having that as an underlying theme as opposed to killing the Submariner.
Yeah.
At least that's kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
And I know I got way off topic because we were supposed to be talking about Ahsoka, but but exactly. But the point I'm making is that obviously Disney makes these decisions based on Disney, not on what people are actually expecting. And they know we're going to watch it anyway. So it kind of doesn't matter what we want. To some degree. I mean, you still see some fun, entertaining stuff. I kind of enjoyed Rosario Dawson kind of, being this like almost Batman, like, because now she's like kind of talking in a different register and she's just like, yeah, we have to go kill these witches now, and all that.
Real stoic.
Yeah. She's super stoic.
She's playing the stoic. She's playing the stoic hero, like like just to be honest, she's playing the stoic hero that male characters have been playing forever.
Ever.
So to just to piggyback off what you said, I find it kind of refreshing that they played her off this way, as opposed to Sabine, who's like, I'm still salty with Sabine about that shit. I'm still salty. I'm still a little salty. I understand, and it worked out all right. But I'm just saying. But this blue nigga's gonna come to the universe and start fucking shit up. Because Sabine had to go find some dude that she ain't even in love with. No, she probably is in love with that nigga, but he already had a kid with somebody else. I'm just saying. This is one of those things.
Yeah, I thought that part interesting too, because I didn't follow the Clone Wars and stuff. So they're like, she's looking for so and so, and then when he shows up, I'm like, okay. So I felt like I was an outsider looking in, like I should have known who he was, and then I'd have been like, oh wow, she found so and so, instead of like
Ezra,
yeah. That's how I felt. I was like, good, you found Ezra, good for you. Like, but there's probably a lot more weight to it than what I understand.
It's one of those things that, let's say everything works out in the end, that they defeat Admiral Thrawn, and there was a quick battle on a planet in war, and they defeat Thrawn, and everything is kind of like normalizing again to a republic, and somebody has to write the history, and he knows, like, wait a minute, all this happened because Sabine ain't fucking destroy the orb. Wait, my wife and my side piece both died?
Oh, God.
At the same time, because this bitch had to go back and fucking find Ezra? Fuck that nigga. Damn.
He has to be the chosen one or something.
Right, it's one of those things that, like, I'm gonna write the history down, but you're gonna have to pay me a lot of money not to let everybody know. Hey, remember Gerald the barbershop? He used to trim your tentacles and shit? You know why he dead? He dead? Because they had to find Ezra. Who the fuck is Ezra? I don't know who the fuck Ezra is either. All I know is
Ezra is the brown chosen one.
Yeah.
All I know is I'm gonna be celibate for a couple of months because both my wife and my side piece are dead.
Oh my stars!
That's all I gotta say.
I liked when you got to see like Anakin around with Ahsoka. That part was so cool. I really like that. The fight scene and just seeing him talk to her. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
and
to see her when she was little, and
the fact that they went to another, spoiler alert, that they went to another galaxy.
Yeah.
That's what thrilled me the most, I think. Is the concept of
with the help of space whales.
Space whales.
Whales.
That was pretty hardcore. That was hard.
Yeah.
So at first you're like, what in the Jonah and the whale is this?
So here, this is one of those moments where I had to kind of agree to disagree with people. If you didn't see Rebels, which is literally everybody who watched Rebels was like, this is season 5.
Okay.
Because this is the Rebels storyline.
Right.
So there were moments where, like, I know, like, people are like, oh my God, they got space well, but from seeing the series, I was like, oh, they found the whales. Oh, this is gonna be good because you have a reference point to it. That segment where she goes and sees Anakin. Because Ezra does the same thing. So his master, who ended up blind from a battle, taught him, like, because when he realized Ezra had the Force with him, he trained him as a Jedi.
Okay.
And then there's a whole thing where he sacrificed himself to the. In fact, Rebels is the series that I got in trouble for because Cosette fell in love with it. And Ezra has a whole relationship with Darth Maul. In that series where Maul offers to finish his training. And so there's a whole lot of backstory. Like I completely agree, because you know what, with Denise, I was the same way when I went to see, what was that movie, Serenity, and never saw one episode of Firefly, and was sitting there like, why do I feel like I'm not in on the joke? It's like, oh, this was okay, now I understand why.
Yeah.
So quick question. So what is the relationship with Ezra and Sabine?
Are
best friends?
Yeah, but it was getting close between the two of them.
Okay.
Like they are pretty much kind of the same age. So it was sort of that kind of will they, won't they kind of relationship.
So it's like Bruce Willis and Sybil Shepherd in Moonlighting. Okay.
Pretty much. There it is. But Thrawn.
Yes.
Ooh.
I remember Thrawn from the books.
Was a son of a bitch in Rebels. Like he was, you know who Thrawn reminded me of in the series? The Nazi that Christoph Waltz played in Inglourious Bastards.
Oh,
yes, yeah.
Where he's like 3 steps ahead of you. And he just be talking, and you like, and it after a moment you're like, oh wait, he already knows why I'm here. Now the question is whether or not he gonna stop me from doing what I'm about to do. So I was happy.
Doesn't, why?
And I was happy to see, because people were complaining. They were like, well, why is he so pouchy? Well, if you've been hiding for all this time on an undiscovered planet, you might have got the eats on. You know, you might have been a little depressed.
Did we forget the pandemic?
Like show some respect. That's Mads Mikkelsen's brother.
Exactly.
That's Mads Mikkelsen's brother. Show some respect.
He wanted some lunch. He was hungry.
Right?
Leave that man's weight alone.
He couldn't go to the gym. He couldn't get his steps in.
Right.
Come on.
All right, stop. That's a big ass spaceship. If he wanted to work out, he could work out.
Like, he was too busy. He was too busy keeping his stormtroopers in line and creating like a special brand of stormtrooper, like special forces. Because niggas got gold masks on.
Wait a minute.
They were dashed out.
I saw that stormtrooper and I was like, what in the Gladiator movie is this shit?
You saw that too,
with the mask come down.
Yeah.
I was like, that's creepy as hell.
Yep.
I don't
and the rest of the troops and the rest of the stormtroopers are like a Bad Batch platoon.
Yeah.
They look like special forces type. They ain't even regular stormtroopers.
No.
But then, I'm sorry, the lightsaber versus the sword fight. That's the second time those two women went at it, and I was just like, you know what? This needs to be a recurring theme with the two of y'all fighting, because the first time they fought was in The Mandalorian.
Right.
And they did that whole what I called Kill Bill 3, because that was completely taken from the House of Blue Leaves when they had to fight.
Right, it was. Yeah. I was thinking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh
a little mix of both.
Yeah.
And it was just great to see and to Denise's point also, and I said this on Facebook, Now see what happens when Kristen Haydenson gets an actual director to direct him.
Oh
No,
Because
that's 100. You 100 on that, Mark.
people crapped
That
on
is
him.
so real.
And during the pandemic, I watched the prequels over and over again because that was into him. And I kept thinking to myself, I'm like, you know what? If he'd have just let you act, if he had given you some, you would have blown that role of Anakin up. And that scene on the battlefield when she's crying over the fallen trooper, and he gives her that speech about life, and I was just like, dude, this is the Anakin Skywalker
we're promised.
This is the one we wanted. This is the Anakin we wanted to see. And he was just that was to as Stephen would say, they took us to acting school that night. He did a hell of a job, and the young lady who played young Ahsoka ate that up. Ate up every single bit of that screen time. And so we got a little bit of the Clone Wars. We got a little bit of we got a lot of Rebels. And we got Ray Stevenson.
Rest in peace.
Man, that was, to know that was the last thing we were going to see him in is kind of bittersweet.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh
He
yeah.
was awesome.
Yeah.
That was some good range. Yeah.
And I sincerely hope. No,
that was it. Season's over.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
Yeah. Loki started.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, Disney can't let you run into other shows. You know, you gotta.
No.
You gotta. Because I was like, why is Ahsoka on a Tuesday night? And then like, oh, we got Loki coming in on Thursday. Because when Loki's over, it's probably gonna be, because we just got off of a Secret Invasion.
Yeah.
I didn't get a chance to process that. And I was like, we got Ahsoka already?
Yeah.
And then next thing you know, we got Loki, which I haven't started.
And I like it. It's good.
And I'm curious to see what they're working on quietly in the background.
Isn't that the Marvel one with the 3 different Marvels?
That's
Marvel?
the movie coming out.
Oh, it's a movie.
Yeah.
Spectrum, Miss Marvel, and Captain Marvel.
So we got the Marvel movie coming out, and then
probably something Thunderbolts related.
Yes. Yeah. The Thunderbolts was with me. Yeah, the Bad Avengers.
Wow.
So basically, right.
With Red Hulk.
Yes. That's right. Captain Ross, or General Ross, I should say.
Yeah.
Becomes Red Hulk. So yeah, and it's Patriot, the obnoxious idiot from Falcon and Winter Soldier.
The new Black Widow.
Oh, right.
The new Black Widow from Hawkeye. Yeah. Natasha's sister.
Interesting. Man. This Loki, I think this season is gonna be way better than last season. I liked last season, but some parts I was like, this is kind of heavy and like sluggish in certain parts. But this first episode, it's like boom, right off the bat.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think that
it hit the ground running.
Right. Yeah, I think that season benefits from the fact that the first season took time to world build.
Yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes a world build can be sluggish.
Yeah.
I saw the first episode. I enjoyed it.
Oh yeah.
I really liked it.
That's short route.
Oh god. Stupid. It's true.
Yes,
it's true. He actually has a name.
He actually is very entertaining to watch.
He was awesome to watch. He was great. I actually loved his character.
Yeah.
I still think they need to do that. The Adventures of Short Round. I would watch the hell out of that.
Right?
I was like,
the Short Round becomes a triad gangster, and he's like fucking better than Boba Fett.
He owns Club Obi-Wan.
Right.
Wait, Club Obi-Wan. Like, are we blending? Like,
no, that's the name of the club in Temple of Doom.
Oh, okay.
At the beginning, when he's fighting Lao She, the name of the club is Club Obi-Wan.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, next time you watch
I missed
it,
that completely. Oh my
next
god.
time you watch
Okay.
it, look at the sign outside. I was like, huh,
check that out.
that's
awesome.
You know what? And it fucked up. He changes the name to Qui-Gon Jinn.
which in wow.
Yes, deep cut, right?
Right.
Literally deep cut.
Yeah, deep cut. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
Oh my.
Oh
Ahsoka's
my
awesome.
stars. Yes.
Loki, awesome.
Yes.
They're doing it again.
We're living in a time of really good.
Yeah.
And for so I downloaded Tubi.
Oh.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's some horror crap on there.
Yes, there
I've
is.
been watching.
Yes,
I'm
there
sitting
is.
there like, what the and why have I? Okay, so I watched Dr. Black and Mr. Hyde. Bernie Casey plays a doctor.
Wait, that's an old one. Yes,
who becomes an albino vampire.
Yes,
and
it's an old movie.
I'm sitting there like, okay, see, no. How did I not know? There's a bunch of Peter Cushing movies that I've never heard of that have been like a bunch of Hammer films I've never seen. And I'm just like, wait, what is this? I'm like, I don't know what. And then I found, much to like how Steven's Vampire Who Teaches Night School is so near and dear to his heart. I found this movie called Strange Invaders. My father took me to see this. And this is one of the rare times I rewatched something. It was like, this stood up. The story was about these aliens that came to this town in the 50s and took over the town.
Okay.
But they look human.
Right.
But they can rip their skin off and they actually they're alien underneath.
Okay.
One of their kind had a baby. And the woman goes back to the town to kind of like, she gets called back. And the ex-husband goes looking for her because no one's heard from her in day. And there's an effect in there where how the aliens, any humans that came into the town, they would shrink them into these blue balls and then study them under the church. It was an absolutely fun. I remember seeing this film and just was like, oh shit, this is and if you're on Tubi and you're ever curious to see it, it's a really wonderful 80s film. It had,
and what is it called again?
Strange Invaders.
Strange Invaders. Okay.
Yeah, it's like a
I'm gonna look
throwback.
for it.
A throwback to the 50s sci-fi.
Wow.
It's a lot of fun. I'm glad they never did a sequel because that would have been.
Wait, guys, everybody.
Strange Invaders.
Wait, look at Mark's face when he said that. Mark's face when he said that, there was like like you saw disgust and relief all at once. Like, I'm so glad they didn't make this part two.
I had to think about that for a minute.
All the sequels that never happened,
Right. He's so glad they didn't, though.
like Grave of the Vampire 2. Probably a good idea that didn't happen. Galaxy of Terror, which was something I scarred Mark with.
Yeah. Yep.
Like that as long as Mark and I have been hanging out, that was one of the first times I thought Mark was actually mad at me because like he was like, what the why do that shit,
Oh man.
That was the night I looked at the clock and was like, I'm not gonna get my life back from watching this.
Yes. The look on your face, bro.
It's like I just wish we had all collectively been online at the same time to watch Lamb.
Oh,
Because the only person's face that would have been different from ours was Steven. Steve would have been like, so what did y'all think? And the three of us would have been like,
we all stared like we were all on the shoot for Apocalypse Now.
Right.
And we just came back, we're like, I'm glad there's not a part 2.
right.
I'm so happy there's not a part 2.
It would have been Lamb Chop.
Lamb Chop, the rebirth.
Rebirth. Right.
there's just some things you cannot unsee. It was like,
why that Lamb man still got the shotgun though?
Right.
He got the kid already. Why he still got the shotgun?
How come he can't find a pair of pants?
Right. It's not like he's hunting and shit. What you eating? Like other lambs? What you doing?
Well, I mean, he's probably a vegetarian. Yes, he's clearly working running up mountains and butt naked. And he don't have a big old spaceship.
Right. So it's like again, that's what happens when you run up mountains butt naked with a lamb head. Where's my kid?
Where's my kid? In the snow.
Where's my kid? Bitch got my kid.
But you know what? No, I'm thankful that there are times Stephen will mention looking at something, and I'm so grateful I have watched it because now it's part of like Denise and I texting back and forth on Grave of a Vampire.
Yes.
Because I'm sitting there, because I'm sorry, he sold me when he was like the vampire teacher's night school.
Right.
And I'm like,
night school. Yes. Of all the things we do.
No, because that's actually a novel idea. Like I would have never thought of what was the show? Forever Night. Wasn't he a disc jockey?
No, yes. He was a cop.
He was a cop, but wasn't the other vampire a disc jockey?
Oh, that like LaCroix. LaCroix was, yes.
He was like I was like, that
which
makes
was
sense.
Bizarre.
It was like, wow.
But you're right, does make sense. He can
I'm on the ones and twos until 5 a.m. Right.
LaCroix spinning the wheels of steel.
LaCroix's like, yo, I told Raymond to be in here at 5 sharp. I'm not gonna get him.
The founding father of French hip hop. To call me LaCroix, I got the je ne sais quoi, it's like the fuck.
Oh my god.
Oh my stars. Wow.
But you know what? Now that you bring that up, I will say one thing about this. I don't know how motherfuckers will listen to that radio show and not figure it out that he was a vampire. Like you're driving in your car or in back of a cab or something, and you hear this like creepy French dude talking all this wild shit that only makes sense for a vampire TV show, and it's like, wait, yo, I think this motherfucker's a vampire. Somebody call the police. Like, what are you doing?
I was just trying to call it a dedication, and he kept talking about crosses and
teeth.
The only cop that would believe that would be the one from Grave of the Vampire.
Right?
Oh shit!
The only one that was convinced from the word
the very beginning.
He was like, "This a vampire, and I can't say nothing because I'm a cop with a pension."
Which unfortunately he never got to collect. Folks. This has been another exciting episode of Beef, Wine, and Shenanigans. I want to thank my clever co-hosts, as always, for bringing the laughs and the seriousness when applicable. We have other surprises lined up, so please keep tuning in and know that we love you all very, very much. And that's it. Kirk, you got any closing words? Yeah, I knew it. He had something. All right, folks. We out.
Kill them lantern flies.
Yes. That's a good point. All right.